Oswald, still compensating for height with that ridiculous top hat I see, though I suppose when you're built like a tea kettle, every inch helps. I was expecting someone larger. The newspapers make you sound more formidable than you appear.
Wilson Fisk, the man who thinks wearing expensive suits makes him sophisticated instead of just a well-dressed thug. At least I have the honesty to embrace what I am, a creature of Gotham's shadows. You dress like a businessman while running. The same rackets I do, just with more pretense and less style.
Pretense? I've built a legitimate empire that operates on multiple levels. Legal businesses, political influence, social respectability. You run penny-ante schemes from a nightclub and call yourself a crime lord. There's a difference between being a criminal and being a businessman who happens to use criminal methods. You're stuck in the past, Cobblepot. Modern crime requires modern thinking.
Modern thinking? You mean the kind that gets you repeatedly defeated by a man in red pajamas? At least Batman requires actual detective work and preparation to challenge me. Your spider problem could be solved by a competent exterminator. My operations may seem small-scale to someone of your bulk, but they're sustainable. I've been running Gotham's underworld longer than you've been terrorizing Hell's Kitchen.
Sustainability through mediocrity isn't success, it's survival. I don't just run criminal operations, I reshape entire cities to serve my vision. Politicians, judges, police commissioners, they all dance to my tune whether they know it or not. You're content being a big fish in Gotham's polluted pond. I am the pond. Every drop of water moves because I will it to move.
Your pond dried up the moment Daredevil decided to make you his personal project. All that power, all that influence, and you're still obsessing over one blind lawyer who keeps dismantling your empire piece by piece. I've adapted to Batman's interference, learned to work around his methods. You've made your entire existence about proving you're stronger than someone who consistently outsmarts you.
Outsmarts me? Murdoch wins battles while I win wars. Every time he destroys one of my operations, I build 3 more. Every ally he turns against me creates opportunities to demonstrate what happens to traitors. His victories are temporary disruptions. My defeats are learning experiences that make me more dangerous. You've never faced an adversary of Daredevil's caliber because you've never built anything worth his attention.
Perhaps that's because I understand something you don't. True power doesn't announce itself with grand gestures and corporate logos. Batman has dismantled my operations countless times. Yet here I remain because I know how to fade into shadows. When necessary, your approach is too visible, too dependent on maintaining appearances. Real criminals adapt. Fake businessmen just rebuild the same vulnerable structures.
Fading into shadows is admitting defeat. Rebuilding visible structures demonstrates resilience and vision beyond mere survival. Every time I reconstruct what heroes destroy, I'm proving that their victories are meaningless, temporary, ultimately futile. You hide because you fear exposure. I embrace it because exposure serves my purposes. When people know what I'm capable of, they adjust their behavior accordingly.
They adjust their behavior by calling heroes to stop you. My approach creates fear without creating enemies I can't handle. Batman knows I exist, but he doesn't make destroying me his life's mission because I'm careful about what I build and how I build it. You've turned your entire existence into a challenge that begs for opposition. That's not strategy, that's ego.
Ego backed by results. My influence extends far beyond New York, touches industries and governments across multiple continents. When I speak, international markets shift. When I act, political landscapes change. Your influence extends to Gotham's, docks and whatever politicians you can afford to buy with bird-themed gimmicks. Which of us has actually achieved power that matters?
power that matters. Your international empire collapses every time one lawyer with enhanced senses decides to file the right paperwork. My local influence has survived decades of interference from the world's greatest detective. Scope isn't everything, Wilson. Longevity is. I'm still here because I build things that last, not monuments to my own vanity that crumble when heroes come calling.
Your longevity comes from irrelevance, not intelligence. Heroes don't prioritize you because you're not worth their time. I attract their attention because I represent genuine threats to the established order. You're a criminal. I'm a force of nature. When I fall, entire systems must be rebuilt. When you fall, someone else simply takes over your territory until you crawl back from whatever hole you're hiding in.
Force of nature? You're a force of habit. The same brutal methods, the same grandiose schemes, the same predictable responses to interference. Batman stopped me by studying my patterns. Daredevil stops you by simply showing up. The difference is that I learn from defeat and evolve. You just get angrier and more direct, which makes you easier to predict and counter.
Anger properly channeled becomes determination. Direct action properly applied becomes unstoppable force. Your evolution is just sophisticated cowardice, learning better ways to hide instead of learning better ways to win. When heroes interfere with my operations, I don't adapt around them. I eliminate them or break them so completely they never recover. That's not predictability, that's inevitability.
Inevitability? The only inevitable thing about your approach is eventual failure. You can't eliminate heroes by breaking them. You just create martyrs who inspire others to take their place. I survive because I understand that heroes aren't problems to be solved through violence. They're environmental conditions to be navigated through intelligence. Your way creates endless war. Mine creates sustainable profit.
Sustainable mediocrity isn't victory, Cobblepot. When I die, they'll remember Wilson Fisk as the man who nearly conquered New York, who challenged gods and devils alike, who built empires that required armies to destroy. When you die, they'll remember you as a colorful criminal who knew when to duck. Which legacy serves power better, feared respect or forgotten survival?
I'd rather be forgotten and breathing than remembered and buried. Your legacy is written in obituaries, yours and everyone stupid enough to follow your methods. My legacy is written in profit margins and operational continuity. Heroes will always exist, Wilson. The question is whether you're smart enough to work around them or proud enough to die fighting them. We both know which choice you've made.